Hello. Welcome to Jade Kind Gaming presents The Observatory. My name is Adam, and I'm here with
Beth.
Yes. And we are here for Pandemic Legacy Season 2.
Woo!
We played through Pandemic Legacy Season 1 with, we liked Pandemic. We had very little idea, having never played a Legacy game, and it went from the what's this about to one of our favorite game experiences.
It was wonderful.
So we wanted to very much pick up Season 2.
Yep.
And are anticipating that we'll go back to Season 0 as well after this, at least at some point, because it was amazing. So we're going to do a series of this.
Yep.
This is the prologue. This game is a bit different than Pandemic. The Season 1 began from very much like the normal Pandemic rules, and then changed very quickly from there.
Yes.
This game starts different. For example, here's South America, North America, Europe, Africa, and you notice how most of that is missing?
Yeah.
Like, this game starts very different. There are not 4 disease cube colors. That is not a thing.
Nope.
There's a plague. Like, the game, some mechanics are familiar, some are different. So the prologue, which we've played a couple times, has no legacy components, and it will be helpful to go over the rules of the game. Because looking back on our playthrough of Season 1, the thing that I feel I did poorest at was explaining the rules. Now, if you know how to play Pandemic, a popular game, easy enough to follow. But anyone that tried to watch without it, I'm sorry. But this time, we will go over the rules as we go. This time we're going to read some things, go over characters. The prologue has been pretty quick. So it's just our opportunity to go into that. If you are familiar with this and just watching to see how we do in it, after we introduce our characters, it's basically just playing through on rules. But I will start by reading. The world almost ended 71 years ago. The plague came out of nowhere and ravaged the world. Fever, cough, sores, and death. Once infected, most died within a week. Nothing could stop it. The world did its best. It wasn't good enough. The last fragments of our people have desperately kept the world from collapsing completely. For 3 generations, we have lived on the seas, on floating stations they called havens. Far from the plague, we are able to provide supplies to the mainland, antibiotics, food, medicine, and tools to keep them, and us, from succumbing completely. We keep a network of the largest known cities in the world alive. Things have been tough the past few years. Cities far away from the havens have fallen off our grid. We don't know what's happened to them. We don't know why the supplies aren't reaching them. We have only a few cities left on our grid. We are failing. The supplies aren't keeping the plague away like they used to. What's more, they're running out. Our leadership tried to hide this fact from us, but we all knew. Last week, the leaders and thinkers of the havens gathered together as they do every year to discuss the state of the havens and the state of the world. They did not return. What's worse is that our main security team was with them. Without our soldiers, the Hollow Men, roving bands of savages bent on our elimination, will expand their attacks, tearing down what we build and stealing what we offer. Those of us left met on the havens to discuss what to do next. After hours of debate, we realized that all eyes had turned to a select few to lead. Us. Not because we are able to lead, but because we are willing. We are starting this journal to record our attempts to keep the world from ending. We know we can't save all the cities, but we will do what we can to save most of them. If we fail, we hope that someone, somewhere, finds these notes to know that we may not have succeeded, but we tried. So, that's sort of the setup of the game. We're going to introduce characters in havens. So we start with havens. In addition to the cities on the map, we have 3 havens, which we have named Neverland, Artusa, and Atlantis. And then we have 5 characters that we start with. And on these characters, we have a selection of stickers for faces, and we get to choose names and homes, which is like where they're going to start when the game starts, and their ages. And these sheets will have other functions later. But we also each assign them each a job. So Lost Boy from Neverland is going to be our radio operator. You communicate with the mainland and other havens to make sure everyone has current information. And being the radio operator means whenever you do the transfer supplies free action, you may give or take supply cubes from a player in any location. These will start to make more sense over time. Yennefer from Artusa, of course, is our farmer. Working on the hydroponic food plantations, you keep the haven's citizens well fed. And being the farmer means once on your turn, when doing the make supplies action, you may immediately do the deliver supplies action for free. So, one less action used when doing that. Yaskir, of course, also from Artusa, is our administrator. You coordinate efforts amongst the various workers on the havens and outside world. Being the administrator means once on your turn, as an action, move a pawn to any other pawn. Sure, much better when you're, this is up to 4 players. Obviously that gives you more choices where to move. With 2, it's either you come to me or I go to you. Still, in practice, useful. We have Lucy from Atlantis, who is our instructor. You teach the history of the world, so we do not forget the past. And as the instructor, once on your turn, as an action, give any one player card to a player in your location, instead of it having to be the matching location. And that is who Beth will be playing in the prologue.
Yeah.
And then Ringo, also from Atlantis, is our laborer. You do the work that few others volunteer for or are capable of. And as the laborer, you may do the build supply center action with 1 fewer card if you spend 2 supply cubes from your character card. That's fun. So, we have our characters made. Those are our havens. We are gonna settle in and play the prologue. So let's get things set up. Set up the board. Let's see. So we got to place. We do have plague cubes that go over here.
8 of them.
Yes, 8. Each time one is placed, the incidence marker goes up, and if all 8 gets placed, even though, like in this one, we can't remove any, but it sounds like later on we can. Even if we remove them, once they're all been placed, it would still be lost.
Yep.
And we also, let's see, we're also gonna. There is also, how many of these are there? 36 in the prologue. Of our supply cubes.
Yep.
This number will diminish as we go. And we can start the game with up to our population number in each city.
Which everyone has 3.
Every city is 3 right now, and I believe filling every starting city and haven is going to exactly be the 36. So
yes.
Part of the reason this prologue is so easy. Set these out. Okay. And if we were not playing the prologue, we would do our legacy deck. But doing the prologue, there are special rules. Play using all the rules except do not open the legacy deck. Your character cannot get exposed, which Exposure is this thing at the bottom. I'll discuss that after playing through. You cannot do the recon action, which is another action. I'll discuss some things that we can't do after we play through. You cannot do the system-wide production when you play produce supplies cards. One of the cards in the player deck has 2 ways of using it. We can't do the one that is limited uses. And do not do game end steps, another thing I'll discuss afterwards. And then after playing the prologue, we will get rid of this and our objective. Our objective for the prologue is build 3 supply centers. I will read the journal entry from the prologue. Priorities. We need to complete the following mandatory objective. Build 3 supply centers. We've barely got our heads around this mess, and yet we now find ourselves in charge. We're covering ourselves up and heading out on supply runs to see the front lines and gauge how bad things are. Things are going to get real very soon. The Hollowmen will tear down our supply centers almost as soon as we build them, but we've got to start restoring our presence on the mainland. What? So we supplied the grid and infect the grid. So I will do that, which is very similar to Pandemic. We have our infection deck. I will shuffle this together and draw cards to start with infections. But different from Pandemic, where you would add cubes to those. Well, there's already cubes all over this. We will lose cubes instead. As cubes go away, once cubes are gone, plague cubes start going if there aren't cubes to remove. There are also, I believe, it's 3 of each of the cities that are on here are in this. So, but yeah, so I will do the infection, and while doing that, you will prepare our player deck. Player deck has the 4 starting rationed event cards that we get for this. Those are ones that we'll have less of if we win, but not. But you know, they're the ones that we get to add more of if we're doing poorly. They also have those. What are they called? Produce supplies. Yeah, yours is the player deck. Yeah, produce supply cards are in there, and then there will be. Is it 5?
Yeah, it's quite a few.
5 epidemics.
5
epidemics that get added through after we've shuffled, given ourselves with 2 players 4 cards for our hand. Yeah, so.
And they also repeat the cities and the cards rather than
there might be
one of each.
4.
Yeah,
I think
it's a couple.
Yeah, I think there's like 4 of each city in there.
Yeah.
And of course, being the prologue, we're not doing any of the legacy game stuff, so none of the stickers, but you can already see just spots on the board. 4 things. The one I'm curious about, because the game goes, there's a prologue, and then it's January through December. Each month could get played twice, but what's 10 and 11? Why are they there?
Well, and then there's also these weird extra little, like, recon things.
Those are recon, and that's a thing that we don't do.
It's an action that we can't do, but it makes me very curious about what does that even mean?
Alright, so it says to open a package. I bet the package has more... I'm betting it has more cards, and I bet it opens up stickers that expands the map. Yeah. I bet recon is what expands the map.
It makes sense.
Yeah, that's my guess.
It's a good guess.
Yeah.
I just know it makes me be like, but how? What?
Yeah, there's like all these grid lines, and I bet I have to line up stickers with them. Okay. For infecting...
Here are your cards, baby.
Thank you. 9 cards, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Infection deck can go there. And so for each of these... sort them by color. And like the colors of the cities on here use the colors that are in Pandemic normally. So we have like in the areas where we've got a rough start. Okay.
Lovely. We've not lost this.
We've tried.
We tried, and it was like impossible to lose. So maybe we'll lose
3 Kairos.
Oh, did I miscount? Yep, I gave myself. Alright. I only gave myself 3.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna give myself that last one that shouldn't have gone on here.
Yep.
I promise I can count to 4, you guys.
Look at Cairo. All 3 of Cairo are in this starting stack. Jacksonville, Lagos, New York. So, starting hand, London, Lagos.
I'm still making our player deck.
Yeah, no, you just work on that. We've already selected characters. Lucy and Ringo.
Yep, sorry.
And then
Lucy's in the middle. She was right.
Yeah. No. And place each pawn at their home. So we're both starting at Atlantis. Obviously, there might be like more strategy of no, start at different spots so you're nearer a different thing, and you can select your characters after we've found. Like we could have been like, oh no, Cairo. So let's play the Artusans. I'm not worried.
No, no, we've not lost this so far. It'd be funny if we lost it while filming. Honestly, I'd find it amusing. And also, story-wise, we have Lucy and Ringo as husband and wife. So at least for the first time, we wanted to be husband and wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Like I have like go over outbreaks in my notes of things I want to make sure I cover with you, because we have not been able to have an outbreak actually occur while playing.
Correct.
Like.
Nope, we had to kind of
could right now with
practice.
Cairo, but
yeah,
I don't, because basically once it's down to no cubes there, then plague cubes start going there, and it's only once there's 3 there that it outbreaks.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh, and I forgot to grab thing that didn't come with game, because it just says to take all the pawns and randomly select. That's difficult. We're just gonna.
Oh, I go first. Cool. I got New York, Sao Paulo, Washington, and Tripoli.
Okay. We need 5 cards matching the color, so
we've got 3 yellows and 4 blues between us.
Yeah.
And then are we?
And I'm the one where if I have things.
Right.
Yeah,
I need to get
we'll go over
to
actions
you.
as we do.
I'm the one that makes it easier to get things to you.
Mm-hmm. And if I have
4, you can build 1.
Yeah, if I have 4 and 2 cubes, I can build.
Yeah.
So.
And
you're going first.
I'm gonna go first.
Yep. So, on turn on your turn.
So there's various actions to do.
It says first is check for exposure, a thing that we're not really doing in this.
But if we had started where there would be plague cubes, we would get
if there's a plague cube where we start, you have to, there's a little thing here which has like the little scratch off thing. I don't know if they're all the same on all the characters, but there are marks for scars, which means you get a bad sticker on your character. And then eventually at some point during this is death, and your character goes away.
And we hope that the scratch-offs are better than last time.
Yeah, the scratch-offs in Season 1 were terrible. But hopefully they're better here. But yeah, so that's the thing that you would start by checking for exposure. We don't do that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, after that, you do 4 actions.
4 actions. Okay. Do you want me to go through all the actions?
No, we'll just do them as we go.
Okay.
Oh, we do need to put...
Yes.
Put that there. For 2 is 0. And then no incidents.
All right. Yeah. And so I think I need to get over to Cairo. Cairo is 2 moves away from me.
1, 2, 3.
You're right. It is 3 moves away from me. I miscounted. I'm having a hard counting day. But I can pick up supplies, which is take any number of supply cubes from your location and put them onto my character card. And that's a free action, which is different than Pandemic. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take I'm going to take all 3.
Yeah, might as well.
And put on my character card.
The Havens, at least at this point, are not cards in that deck that things are going to happen. So they're just a great place for supplies to be stashed and taken from.
So that was free. So I am going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm at Cairo. Mm-hmm. And then I can, as an action, deliver supplies. Put any number of supply cubes from my character card onto my current location. I will just do all 3. Let's just restock Cairo.
Hey, now we're not worried about it.
Yep. And so that is my 4 actions. Mm-hmm. I will now draw my 2 player cards. I got Washington. And I got Produce Supplies.
Which you'll use at some point.
Yep. And then now we infect cities, which we're on 2, so we'll go twice. So first is New York. Remove a cube from New York. And then next is Jacksonville. Remove a cube from Jacksonville.
All right. Now it makes it my turn.
Yes. Are you exposed?
No.
Oh, okay.
We not do exposure. We're in the prologue.
Right. Sorry.
Forgot that we're doing things the only way. So I will move. Pick up supplies, free action. Another thing, we could also, if we're on the same space, give or take supplies, another free action. So there's a couple free action options.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, driving or ferrying, which is moving to an adjacent location, is an action. This one also has sail. Discard a card to move to a city named on the card as long as you can access it through a sea route. Mm-hmm. Or charter boat. Discard a card that matches your current city to move to any location provided you can trace a sea route to it. So basically, the card of where you're at or where you're going, you can discard, but there has to be sea routes. Theoretically, eventually, there's going to be land routes. I don't know if that's going to be actions that are added or not. Obviously, things are going to change.
Likely would, because you can see the ports, so there's like town things too.
Yeah,
so.
Maybe.
We'll see.
1, 2. Then deliver supplies. I'll put 2 down, so 3. And then for 4th, I'm going to make supplies, which is just take 1 supply cube from the stockpile and put it on your character card.
Lovely.
Yeah.
All right.
Then I draw 2
Cards.
of these. Oh, triple E.
Lovely.
And epidemic.
Oh.
So increase infection rate.
Perfect.
Infect. Draw the bottom card of the infection deck.
Bottom card
is Lagos. And remove all the supply cubes, if any, from that. So
2, I will take it.
And then intensify. Shuffle the cards in the infection deck, discard pile, and put them on top of the infection deck.
So because we were able to fill in Cairo, it's
Istanbul and Jacksonville and Lagos are our biggest concerns.
Yes. Okay.
I'll get 2 of those.
Yep. 1, 2.
Cairo. Good job, girly.
Yep.
New York. The 2 places where we added stuff back.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Okay. And then your turn.
My turn. Okay, so I am going to where are you at?
I'm over in New York.
All right. I'm going to discard New York to charter a boat. Oh, wait, no. To sail there. Discard New York to sail to New York.
Yep.
So, which I believe I can do because boo-da-boo-da-boo. Boo-da-boo-boo-boo-boo. 2. And then that was 1.
Yep.
And then I want to share knowledge. Give us a card that matches the city you are in to another player. However, I am the instructor. So once on my turn as an action, give any 1 player card to a player in your location. So I'm just going to give you Washington.
Okay.
I can only do that
once. I want
once
to move to Washington so I can come
turn.
take it afterwards?
Yes, that's once per turn.
So
So that was 2. So 3, I'm going to Washington. And then I'm going to make a supply at Washington.
Okay.
And as a free action, I'm also going to put it on my card.
Well, no, when you make supplies, you put it on your character card. Because it's another action to deliver it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, here.
Then never mind. Then I just made a supply.
Yep. All right. Draw.
Yeah. Lagos. And I got a ration event, which is take up to 2 supply cubes from the stockpile and put them onto any locations. So if we're...
You want to go ahead and do that immediately?
Oh,
like
yeah.
Lagos?
Let's do that to Lagos. Because I just completely ignored the fact that it was a problem.
Yeah. Not a problem now.
Nope. Fix it. And
No,
then
in fact.
that's my turn. In fact, we're still at 2. I've got Cairo. And we've got Lagos. Good thing we did that.
My turn.
Yep.
So, 1 is move. 2, take Washington, because we're in Washington.
Yep.
I happen to already have 2 cubes on my character, and I have 4 blue. So I will, as an action, it's discard 5 cards matching your city's color to build a supply center there, but my ability lets me swap out 2 supply cubes for one of those cards, so I just build supply center here, which moves this up here.
Yep.
It also helps with the produce supplies cards, because they either work at havens or places with the supply center.
Yep.
Let's see. At this point, I think we've done all the available options, or done or talked about all of them, because we've shared knowledge. We've built that. So yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, I moved. I built a supply center. I will 3 move. 4. I will just make supplies.
Yep.
Okay. So I draw 2 of these. Cairo and produce supplies. I'll draw 2 of these. New York. Istanbul, which is now empty.
Lovely.
And your turn.
And my turn. Okay. You're at Jacksonville, which only has 1. Okay, I'm going to go 1 to New York and drop off this cube. So that's 2. Then 3 to the Haven. And then that is going to be, I'm going to produce supplies, which is an action.
And local production at the Haven or Supply Center. Fill your current location to its population with supply cubes. Just 3 at this time.
And then I'm going to put them on my card as a free action. Pick up supplies. That was my 4th action. So I am done.
Both of the examples have it. The system-wide correction that we can't do is at a Haven or Supply Center, fill all Havens and Supply Centers to their population with supply creeps. And then you check a box. There's 2 at the bottom of each of these cards. There are some of them that has 3 and some that have 1.
Yep.
So different number of cards. And when all those boxes are checked, we get rid of the cards. They leave the deck. So it's like risky long-term to do it. But that's why we can't do it in the prologue, because nothing changes.
Right.
You just draw.
And then I draw, yep. So, Lagos. Epidemic. So, epidemic, we increase it. And then we pull from the bottom. Jacksonville. Empty where you are. There's not much in here. Still drawing 2. Jacksonville, put a
Blake cube
Blake
goes
cube.
here, and incident goes up 1.
Cairo, taking that last one. Whew.
That makes it my turn.
Yeah.
Okay. So, at the start of my turn, if this was a normal game, this is the situation where I would be having to scratch those. Yeah, so, dangerous.
Yes.
A lot easier to risk scars in this one because you can't prepare. They just all of a sudden...
Yeah.
Yeah. just gonna... I'm going to 1 produce, 2 deliver, 3, and then 4 I will use this to make 3 here that I then move to my character. So, leaves it risky for right now, but oh well.
Yeah.
Okay. That Jacksonville and Jacksonville. I already have Lagos and Lagos. Okay, I know what I'm doing next turn.
Cool.
And I've also already got cubes on me, so yeah, we're good for that next turn. You probably go over towards Istanbul, Cairo.
Yep.
New York, Cairo.
Get the plague cube.
Up to 2. We discard those. It's your turn.
My turn. Alright, I'm doing 1, 2 to Istanbul.
Okay. Did you want free action on your way?
Oh, yeah, I should free action on my way. Yes. Oh, free action on my way. So 2 to Istanbul, 3 to deliver supplies there.
Yeah, you could move there because it's the prologue and it doesn't matter if we start on one, but in the actual game you wouldn't, so maybe do you want to just produce one instead, or...
Yeah, I'll produce one instead, because I'm like, in theory I should not do that, so I won't.
One of the rules points out, because like, all the numbers starting at 3, and so like when you do produce supplies, it goes up to that. We can only start with up to that. You could put as many as you want there.
Yes.
It's like, that's only, like, that's limit for that. It's not like you can't hold more.
Yes. Okay, but I did my 4, so I will draw Washington, Cairo.
Okay.
Okay.
Then infect.
Cards, infect. Lagos. New York.
Okay. My turn. Correct? Move. So 4 cards. 2 supplies from my card. We build another supply center. Oh look, 2 of the 3 we need. So let's move. Build. I will make a supply, deliver supplies.
Yeah.
Draw cards. So I got another produce supplies here. Ration event. You may play this between step 2 and 3 of an epidemic. I'm going to hold that while I can. That is the resilient population that lets us remove things. And in this one, it removes it from this to game end area, which basically means it'll go back in for the next game. But that's like a weird zone that the game references for things that, like, things are going to happen at the end of this game. But yeah, and then I have to draw a couple of these.
Yep.
Istanbul.
And
Jacksonville. Discard and take your turn.
Alright. My turn. I'm going 1. No, sorry. Deliver. 2. 3 to deliver more. And then 4 to head over to Tripoli, where I'm not going to get an exposure.
Yep.
And I've got 6 cards, so I'm going to have to discard something here. I drew Istanbul and produced supplies. I will keep Istanbul and get rid of Washington and obviously keep my produced supplies. And then now I'm at my hand limit of 7.
Infect.
Jacksonville. Cairo.
So, like, there's some dangerous areas and things like, ooh, in the long-term game we're thinking about for the future, I might want to worry about.
Right.
1, 2, 3. I take Tripoli.
Yep. Like, don't bother. Just come to me and get the things. I'd be impressed if we had an outbreak.
Okay. Yeah. Another ration event. Move any 1 pawn to any location. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's go there. Increase, so that goes up to 3. Let's get that bottom card.
Bottom card. Oop, sorry, it won't come out.
Is Washington.
Whew.
And then what do we want to do? We want to remove... What do we got? Because we're going to look
at...
Jacksonville, Washington, New York. I can remove 1 or 2 copies of a specific one. Are any of those in there twice?
There are 3 copies of Jacksonville.
Let's get 2 of those and remove them to the game end
only
area.
2 of New York, so...
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I'm not used to it.
Yeah.
Is new.
Yep. Another thing the airlift could be good for is if at the start of your turn you're gonna be in a spot where like a cube ended up to like airlift them, just move them, even if they want to be in, even if they want to be in that area to fix it, like just move them next door so they don't get a spot.
Right. It is worth it to waste an action moving back than to risk death.
Yep.
Okay, goes on. You want
because there will be. It seems like, to our knowledge, there will be
3.
5 more characters like over the course of the game, because there's more blanks for us to make cards. But Lagos, Cairo, New York gets one of these, so we go up to 3.
Yep. It's like there were 2 of New Yorks, but there was 3 Jacksons. So.
Yeah. And that makes it your turn?
That makes it my turn.
What's the first thing you do?
First, I'm going to give you Cairo. That was 1. 2. Produce supplies. Take them for free. So it's only 3 actions.
And then just start heading over it, even though you're not going to get there. Okay.
Yeah. I'll head over this way.
Neverland.
Yeah.
Draw.
Drawing. Istanbul. And Washington. 6. Do this. Istanbul. Washington gets a plague. New York gets a plague.
And my turn.
Yep.
I will move here. Produce supplies. I will take them for free. 3 move back. And then 4 cards.
2 cubes.
Produce the supply center. That's 3 supply centers. We
win.
win.
Our objective.
Okay. So yeah. So we won. That's the thing. You've completed your objective. There is only 1 objective that must be completed. It must include all mandatory objectives. But like for January, we're gonna have 2.
Yep.
Who knows what? But yeah. So there's a little more just to go over before we move on of stuff for full game. That recon action that we're not doing in the prologue.
Right.
I'm just going to read through. When you recon, you are exploring some of the Lost World in an attempt to learn what happened and how it can help you with your objectives. Each location where you can recon shows you what you must discard in order to recon from there. In most cases, you need to recon from a supply center. Read each recon description to see what you need. Unless otherwise stated, there must be a supply center in that city. You need to discard city cards from your hand matching those on the route leaving the city. If the cards on the route have a star symbol, the cards can be of any cities. Only the card matters. If the cards have letters, then they must be unique. And when you successfully do it, open the package. For example, we'll get 2 of them. Over here, recon with any 3 blue cards from a supply center here to open package 1. So
really
it can be Washington, New York. And then whatever you do those, you have to have a supply center here, so you could do it at Washington. And then we get to open package 1 and find out really what happens there.
Right.
And that's the same on both of these, which makes these seem like the easier, quicker ones that are going to happen.
Do first.
Because these, A, B, C, D. So,
Well, if you'll notice, we only have A, B, C. There's only
there are
three
only
blues.
three blues.
Or there's
so
only
once
three
we do
blacks,
this,
and there's only 3 yellows.
Yeah. So obviously, then you have to do this for that. There's, so you have to open these up to get enough to open these up.
Yeah.
So yeah, these are definitely the earlier ones.
Yep.
Good observation. We already went over the whole point with exposure of that can cause us to have to, lose characters. Let's see, outbreaks. So we did get, of course, some plague cubes. If we gotten 3 more, we would have lost that way.
Yep.
But there's other things. Because to infect a city, remove 1 supply cube from it and return it to the stockpile. If the city has no supply cubes, instead place a plague cube and record the incident. If the city already has 3 plague cubes, do not place a 4th cube. Instead, an outbreak from the plague occurs in the city. And when an outbreak occurs, so there would have to be another one of these here, and then we'd have to draw New York again.
Right.
Let me actually just set that here for our example. When an outbreak occurs, remove 1 supply cube from every location adjacent to the city. If the connected location does not have a supply cube, place 1 plague cube instead. Move the incident marker forward 1 space for each plague cube placed. And then again, they can chain reaction. So if there were already 3 on the next one, then that could further cause it. It just doesn't feed back to the same cities that have already had a plague cube placed on them. But
Yeah.
And so that's I guess would be the only way that we'd end up actually getting plague cubes here, which is a thing we never considered. We've just been taking all supplies from the havens because nothing can happen there. There is guides for tracking in this game. We will be just tracking on our own, I think, for the end of game stuff based on season 1. Whether we won or lost, how many cities are on the grid, and our rationing, which is how many of those rationed events we get to keep. So, for example, we begin with 9 cities on the grid.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yep.
And they're already drawn in here. It looks like there can be up to 52. And that's a whole thing to do with end of game stuff. Because we don't do it all the end of game things, but in end of game, we will adjust population. If a city has at least 1 plague cube, its population goes down by 1. If a city has a supply center, it goes up by 1. So Washington here would be neutral. New York would go down by 2.
Yeah.
With how it ended. So check the legacy deck. We're not doing anything with the legacy deck, but we will, as regular, check this deck here.
Yep.
Resolve cards in the game end area. So infection cards get added back to the infection deck, so they would still be in there for the next game, in other words. And then there are, it calls them turning point cards. I'm assuming story stuff. Then you would spend production units. In season 1, you just had a number of bonuses you got to spend at the end of each time. There are bonuses to change population, add abilities to characters, improve city cards, and help with infection cards. There's stickers for all that stuff, and they each have different number of points they cost. So some of them are going to use like 3 of our game end points, but instead of just being 2 each time, now based on the number of cities on the grid, you get a certain number of production units. So for 1 to 10, which is where we would start, we'd get 3. But if there's 43 plus units on the grid, you'd get 8. And you get +1 if you won the game.
Right. Which we had won this one, so had we been playing, we would get 4. Yeah.
Yeah. Character abilities, city card improvements, infection card improvements, and population. And then, of course, if you won the game, your rationing level drops by 2 for the next month. And we'd move on to the next month. If we lost the game, the first time we play a month, we get to repeat it, see if we can do better. The second time, we just move on without getting any of the benefits from that month.
Yeah.
We never had to do that in Season 1. But your rationing level does go up so that you get more rationed events. Otherwise, that's, I think, an explanation of how the game works. For now. I will just point out things like, this is a page of rules. It's nothing but spots for stickers.
Yeah.
The rules just keep changing. There's spots here. Certain rules here on the setup, literally, they're boxed around. Like, this is... Infecting the grid is going to change completely at some point.
Yep.
I don't... Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
we'll find out.
the rules just change as we go.
Yes.
I'm excited to find it out.
Yeah.
Like the video. Comment below, but don't spoil the game if you've played through. Let us know your thoughts or excitement about this, because we're excited.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Subscribe so you can join us on our journey through Pandemic Legacy Season 2 as we find out what's going on with this plague.
I mean, it just keeps getting worse.
Yeah.